it's Mel from Sparkly Belly. I wanted to make a cute ruched hip scarf to go with this new Baladi dress, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I made it. Also, there's nothing more distracting than seeing a hip scarf fall off a dancer as they perform, so I'm going to share with you tips on how to keep your hip scarf on your hips while dancing. Let's get started. To make this ruched hip scarf, you need about 80 centimeters or 32 inches of stretch fabric. This is the first tip for keeping your hip scarf on your hips, and it's making a hip scarf with stretch fabric. Stretch fabric will hug the hips nicely and it's harder to fall off. And matching color thread. First, cut the fabric into two 40 centimeter or 16 inch wide strips, and we'll use the entire width of the fabric. Then place the strips right size together and match up one of the short ends. Do a straight stitch with a 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and press the seam open. Now fold this strip in half lengthwise so it's half as wide. Wrap it around your hips, tie it, and see if you want to trim it. If so, mark your preferred length with a pin. Also mark where the side seams of your clothes are on the hip scarf with pins. I've lined up the seam on the hip scarf with one of the side seams of my clothes so it looks more seamless. Remove the strip carefully and trim it if you need to. Then fold 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch from all edges and do a zigzag stitch so the edges are nicely treated. Then we'll do a basting stitch at the side seam marks. Basting stitch is a regular straight stitch with the longest stitch length setting on your machine. Here, don't backstitch. Instead, leave long tails of threads at the beginning and end. Now pull one of these threads gently. This makes the fabric gather slowly. Guide the fabric along the thread gently and pull from the other side too so it's nicely and evenly ruched. Do this until the scarf becomes about 15 centimeters or 6 inches wide. Repeat this at the other point. If you want to wear this hip scarf over any costume, simply go over the gathered area with a straight stitch again to keep the gathering in place. Or if you know you'll be wearing the hip scarf with a particular costume, match the gathered areas with the side seams of the costume. And do a straight stitch over the ruched area and the side seam of the costume. And this will be tip number 2. Secure the hip scarf to your costume by sewing them together at seams. Then you know the scarf won't fall. But if you want the option to wear the hip scarf with other costumes, finish the gathering as I explained earlier and line up the seams and just do a few temporary stitches by hand to the costume you're wearing. And you can easily remove the stitches after the performance. Then cut any loose threads. And tip number 3, keep the hip scarf light. If you choose to decorate this hip scarf, try to use light materials like acrylic stones or light sequins or lace motifs. Large glass stones, large tassels, or heavy coins will look nice but weigh down the hip scarf. Once the hip scarf is sewn, it's time to wear the costume. Tip number 4, tie a double knot. It looks nice to tie the ends of the hip scarf just once like this, but this is only great for photo shoots. If you're performing in it, tie a double knot. Or tip number 5, use a pretty brooch to secure the hip scarf. Find a sparkly brooch or make one that matches your costume. I made this one in my previous tutorial, so I'll include the link in the description. Tie the hip scarf just once and pin through the layers of the hip scarf as well as the dress or skirt underneath them. This way the hip scarf is not going anywhere while you dance. And your DIY ruched hip scarf is complete. The gathered fabric looks so pretty, and this hip scarf itself is very easy to make. And you don't need to use all the tips I shared with you. Try some of them that work for your costume, and your hip scarf should stay better. And now you've got yourself a fun hip scarf that stays on your hips. And if you want to make a Baladi dress like one I'm wearing here, I have great news. My brand new course on making Baladi dresses is launching tomorrow, Friday, March 12th. I'm really excited to share with you how to make these 2 styles of Baladi dresses with a modern twist. If you're curious, learn more at sparklybelly.com/Baladi dress. Hope you like this DIY ruched hip scarf tutorial and hip scarf tips, and if you did, please share this tutorial with your dancer friends. It'll be so cute to wear matching hip scarves with your troop members. And again, if you want to make your very own beautiful Baladi dresses, check out my brand new course at sparklybelly.com/balladydress. Thanks for watching and keep sparkling!